Joe Whitt Jr., who was asked about Trey Amos, the stud second-round pick. At least that's the way it seems in training camp, as he has been a bona fide starter. He's listed at the top of the depth chart along with Marshon Lattmore, who has also had a very good camp. Here's Whitt on his starting two corners.
Yeah, Trey's had a good day every day. He's a young kid that he's a rookie. So Jason Simmons has done a really nice job with not putting too much on him, putting him in the right situations. He's a patient kid. Marshon is healthy, so he's back to the guy that we're used to. I'm excited about the group on the back end, and you can't stop with those two guys. Mikey touches the ball every practice. Noah touches the ball. He might not intercept it, but he's knocking it down. Jonathan might not have shown up in a splashy way, but they caught one ball on him, and that was a hell of a throw. Five could have handed it to, I think that was Debo that caught that ball over there. It was a hell of a throw. We just get back in the huddle on that. And then Carlin, he's done a nice job of covering as well. So I've been pleased with that group.
A lot of intriguing, interesting prospects. We talked a lot about the DBs in general off the top of the show, the 415 segment, segment 2, if you are in podcast land. But none of this really works at the highest level unless Lattimore's really good. Like, he's the engine that makes the thing go the fastest. If you got to replace him, there's a bunch of stuff down chain that becomes a little dicey. So what has Joe Whitt Jr. seen from the star corner acquired last year, mid-year, from the Saints now that he's healthy?
Well, he's out there. That's the first thing, okay? He's consistently out there. We last year, he went and fought his ass off, and he didn't practice very often, and so that's hard on a player, but he's a competitor, so he was willing to go do that and not be afraid of the result. You know, he just wanted to go out there and compete and help us win. And I think people lose that sometimes when the play might not be what you desire it to be. But the dog-ass competitor you can never go away from. But to answer your question, he's a really good press player. That's who I am, who we want to be. Nice feet. He still can hold the vertical control, and he's very, very competitive. So I've been pleased with where he is.
The competitiveness was never an issue last year. It was the play. But now it seems like the health is going to allow him to play at a much higher level. And that, along with Amos's apparent ascension, Sainristil, another year of experience. And I still think Will Harris is a really intriguing piece as a chess piece in that back end. Big nickel, safety, to complement Quan Martin. It's going to be really interesting to see what Joe Whitt Jr. does. And I love Joe, just saying, like, this is who we want to be. Press man. Like, we want to be in your face. That is very much how they want to play defensively, an aggression that defines who they are and what it means to be a commander. Now they take their show on the road. Commanders and Patriots doing work over the next couple days, which brings us to
number 5.
And the value of joint practices, which most teams now see as even more valuable than the preseason games themselves.
It goes both ways. So, when you go against each other so much, they start to know your calls. You start to know their calls. You get used to the releases of the receivers. You get used to the sets of the blockers. So it's just good to go against new bodies. And now you can see, all right, are we doing what we need to do, or are we just used to playing a certain group of guys? Can we play our play style on the road? Can we travel with it? So I really enjoy joint practices, and hopefully, with DQ, we can keep it clean. The league has had a couple fights the last couple years, and we don't operate that way. We're a clean unit, and so hopefully we get up there and just get good work in, get quality work from both sides.
Anthony, if you are Dan Quinn and Joe Whitt, do you call a special 1-on-1, 2-on-1, maybe Adam Peters in their 3-on-1 meeting with Marshon Lattmore and go, Marshon, we are a clean operation. We are not going to get into fights. Please repeat after me. Marshon, we are a clean like, not that he's the only guy, but he is the guy that has a history of fighting dudes in playoff games, nevertheless in joint practices. So I think they'll keep it clean, but I can't guarantee it.
Yeah, I think Stephon Diggs and Marshon is definitely going to be popcorn for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely. I was trying to think who on New England. I was like, I don't know. Is he really going to
outside of Stephon? There's nobody.
Is he really going to fight Kendrick Bourne? Stephon, that's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. Those two dudes, be a little bit volatile.
Yeah,
at times. Yeah. I will say the one thing about joint practices is there's not typically fights on the first day. It's day 2 that's a nightmare, which is why most teams now schedule 1 day of joint practices. They do one game, the 1 day, that's enough, and then they'll play the preseason game. But if you do 2 days, by the second day, guys are just sick of seeing each other, and that's when, hey, God forbid you do 3. 3 never happens.
2 is insane.
2, you're probably going to get... Because, like, there probably will be a couple of, like, quick fights, but it's the brawl that you want to avoid.
Yep.
The one that spills... I mean, I was at Commander's Jet, saw them years ago, getting the hell out of Trent Williams' way as he's swinging on people. I was like, I do not need to be close to here. Yeah. All right. On we go, continuing in the pick 6 with more from Joe Whitt Jr. on the joint practices and what traits he's emphasizing in camp that will ultimately define the defense.
Yeah, we talk about mind speed. So if we can think fast, we can play fast. We go hard. We don't practice necessarily long, but we go really, really hard. And so make sure we're chasing the ball. Make sure we're being physical up front. We're not letting the ball get through. And you just have to practice that way. You have to live that way. You have to. This is an intense environment that AP and DQ have set, a very competitive environment, and you have to get used to living that way. And one thing I would say is, everybody in that defensive room lives that way for real. In the past there might have been some resistors that there's nobody. I mean, everybody gets down the way that we want to get down right now. And so, and that's fun, to go. So, I'm excited about this next pocket of going against the Patriots and being where our feet are and seeing how the next couple of days go.
Some resistors in the past. Do you have any idea who that could be, Anthony?
I have no idea. None at all.
Could it perhaps rhyme with Schmon Schmallen?
Really? Hans Palens
out there resisting? Never.
Think so.
I just thought he was about lining up and kicking ass.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Somewhere in there was a resistor that's not here anymore.
Nope.
Which would make you think it's probably not someone. I mean, it could rhyme with Belante Smaller, but like Dan Quinn's had him in 78 different places.
Yep.
So I'm guessing it's not him.
Joe would coach him too.
There weren't a whole lot of other holdovers on the defense. What'd you say, Hans Pallen?
Hans Palens.
The resistance is futile. But it is a good sign. A guy like Daron Payne, not saying that about him. They very much like how he gets down. But I also enjoy you have to live that way. Like, we're about it. But you can get that out of players when you don't push in an unreasonable way, right? Hey, you only have 2 reps. Well, don't jog. Like, do your work, and then we'll take care of you. Like, you can't have it always. You can't have 3-hour practices where dudes are having to run hard all the time, chase the ball. Like, if you want to establish this is who we are, you have to build it in short bursts. And I think that this staff understands that at a fundamental level, which is why the buy-in is so high and now apparently unanimous as some of the resistors are no longer in the building. Number 6, Anthony, if we could, please.
Number 6.
Joe Whitt Jr., mindset, entering training camp. What did he want to see and how is it going?
Yeah, there were a number of things. To myself, and this might sound silly, my motto, and I have it on my board right now, is let's do what's right, don't necessarily be right. As coaches, you think you have all the answers all the time, and so I'm being very cautious to listen to everybody and make sure I'm doing what's right, not necessarily trying to prove that I am right, if that makes sense. And so allowing the coaches just to coach, getting out the way, putting the scheme in, detailing it out from a schematic standpoint in the meeting rooms, and allowing them to go do it, and focus on calling it in the right situations, and then making sure that we're putting the players in the best situation, utilizing them. I don't think I did a good enough job in certain spaces with Frankie and Jeremy. We did good jobs, but the whole 11, I have to do a better job of using people's skill sets. So those were the three main things that I really focused on my growth.
It's something that I tried to remind folks of last year. Joe was a first-time coordinator. I thought he did a really good job of growing and getting better, being reflective in the right ways throughout the year, understanding that even though there's some things he wanted to do, he couldn't. We just had a great comment in the YouTube chat where, last year he did talk about being schematically challenged. And I think this year he's going to be able to do more of what he wants to do. But you have to ultimately balance what you want to do in your optimal circumstances with what your players are capable of. And that is something that Joe Whitt Jr. Got better and better and better at last year, and it's something that I think he'll continue to be excellent at going forward as a defensive coordinator and perhaps one day a head coach in the NFL. That is our Pick 6 at 6, biggest headlines and storylines and sound bites of the day. We'll do that again after the joint practice later on in the week. New episode of Take Command tomorrow. We'll preview the joint practice and a lot more, so make sure you're subscribed to TC wherever you get your podcast.
This is the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.